have these people going, no, I'm addicted, or I'm a dependent, or I'm dependent on it, or whatever. You just have to make up your mind, make a plan, and work that plan.
Right.
And get help.
I try to explain to people, I'm not a combat veteran. I didn't get PTSD downrange. I didn't get it from a deployment. You expect these things from deployments. You don't expect these things. I think the most traumatic portion of it for me was waking up on a Friday morning and going to work like many of us do. And 30 minutes into your day, your whole life is turned upside down. In an office, you don't expect this.
Right.
So people need to understand that PTSD is not necessarily combat related. It's not necessarily, I don't have to be in Afghanistan or Iraq in order to experience trauma of battle or, an enemy. I unfortunately learned that we can face our enemy any day. Any day, any minute, any hour, any second, when you least expect it. And there are no longer in my life routine things. It's routine. We're just going to go to work. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, and expect to come home, or expect you. That's one of the things that changed in my life. The fragility of life and how fast and how instant it can be snuffed out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I'm working on. But I have to tell people, there are expectations, and when your mind is totally blown by what you never would have expected, it just does something to you. It does something to me about our own people. Friendly fire.
Yes.
Wow.
Right.
It creates a distrust. As much as you love to trust your fellow service members and your brothers and your sisters, wow, there's somebody out there who does not have the best for you.
Right.
That was devastating to me. So I've had a lot to deal with all of that, but it did not deter me, and I haven't lost my faith in us.
And
I just recognize that there's just bad people out there.
Mm-hmm.
That, things just didn't work. So things happen, but it's not the majority.
Right. And I think that's where you have to come. That's the point you have to come to, especially when you've been through major traumatic instances and stuff. And that's one thing that I talk about in my book, is that they didn't intend to hurt me. They didn't get up in the morning going, I'm going to hurt her today, or I'm going to mistreat her today, or whatever.
Right.
Hurting people hurt people. And because they're hurting, they react out of that hurt. And it's not directed at you or anyone else. It's because of their hurt, and they don't know how to deal with it and express it. And so that's why it's important for us to get out there and tell our stories and work with other people, so that they have the ability to tell their story, to be able to speak up, so that they don't end up internalizing that and then hurting someone else from that pain.
Exactly.
And you probably, like me, know how easy that would be to lash out at somebody else from the pain that you're having. And I know I did. I talk about, I was like a volcano. One minute I was sitting dormant, and the next minute I was exploding hot lava on everybody, because I was so mad about what happened to me. Yes. And I, and I did hurt my family in the process of that. And I had to come to a point of saying, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you, but I was hurting. And so my pain made me lash out and hurt them. And it was the same thing with the people who hurt me. Their pain made them lash out and hurt me. It's not that they got up today intending to hurt me.
Right. And that's when I decided, when the anger started building, I knew I needed an outlet. So that's when, and it took me a minute to start seeing a therapist and getting that therapy, because I thought, I'm a strong woman. I internalize everything.
Mm-hmm.
I can handle it. I figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. I've got this. I'm the leader. No. But when it started to manifest as anger, is when I said, okay, this isn't good, because the worst thing for me to do was to get angry at everybody around me. The government did this, and you guys didn't protect me, and you guys knew about this and everything. I mean, it just could have just taken it could have taken a wrong turn.
Right.
And instead I chose to not necessarily forgive, but understand and say, okay, you know what? I understand why they're doing this, or I understand why this is happening. I even understand, you know, the shooter's mindset, and said, you know, I don't forgive, but I feel sorry. I feel bad. I feel sorry for him because he felt that was his only alternative. That was his only answer. And you know, get into the biblical aspect of it. He didn't know God. He didn't know.
Right.
You know, I feel sorry because he didn't choose to rely on faith and God to.
And
he didn't
even have that to rely on, you know.
No.
And I can't imagine that. I just, because I was raised by my Christian grandmother, and so I was always in church, and so I've always had my Christian faith, and so I can't imagine somebody who operates without that, you know.
Right.
It's
right.
I can't, how hard that must be for them. And it makes me, like you said, it makes me really feel bad for them.
Right. And that's how that's the point I got to, where I said, I feel bad. I feel sorry. I feel sorry that he felt that was his only option. And it affected so many people that he didn't even take into consideration.
Right.
So I don't have hate. I don't have animosity. I have where, yes, I'm upset because I'm affected. I'm still affected. I still have to live with this. This is a thing that a lot of people have to live with and deal with. But I am still here to live with it and deal with it. And I'm appreciative of that. But I feel bad that he felt that was his only option.
Right. And
instead of seeking the help that he actually really needed.
And to be here to help someone else who's going through something. And I mean, if you look, I mean, like right now we're taping, if this is being listened to on replay, we're taping in 2019. We just had these major shootings happen at Walmart. You know, I mean, think about all the people who are going to have to deal with those traumas. And if you have an opportunity to write a book or to stand on a stage and tell your story, and it touches them and it helps them, I can't tell you with my book how many people, when they come back and they go, thank you, because that helped me understand why I feel the way I do. And then you think, okay, it's all right, because I went through that, but there's a purpose in going through that.
Yes. And I know we're pushed. I have to say this. When I think about those shootings that we had at the Walmart and in Ohio, I go back to the survivors, those who were not injured. They're going to live with that trauma forever. That's me. You may not be physically injured. I have all of my limbs. I have my life, I have my hearing, I have my sight. Everything is intact. However, it is no less physically, it is no less traumatic mentally. Those people also will have invisible wounds, and they will be affected, and they are going to forever have to hear those shots in their mind, hear the screaming in their mind, relive the panic in their mind. Those people, we are those people who get forgotten.
Yes.
You read about heroes, you read about those who were in the hospital. This person was shot, this person lost an arm, this person lost a limb, this person lost the people who walked out, that are still at home suffering, who are afraid to walk out their door, count.
Yes. They're count. Injured too. They are injured
but they're going to get pushed aside and pushed under the rug because nothing really happened to you.
Right. But it did. But it did.
And that's what I'm trying to get across. That's my job. I walked out, I have all my limbs, but I'm no less mentally injured than a person who may have received a wound. I get it, but we cannot continue to be lost in the shuffle just because we don't have anything to show for it.
Right, exactly, because those wounds are on the inside and they hurt, and those scars are on the inside,
Yes.
and they hurt. Sometimes I think those scars hurt worse than a visible scar.
Let me tell you, we are talking about an era where our suicide rate is at its highest.
Yes.
And I venture to say that our suicide rate is at its highest because people who are hurting inside don't get acknowledged.
Right.
When not only are you mentally damaged, but when people when they discount you.
Right. They dismiss that pain.
They dismiss your pain. They discount you. You feel like you don't matter. You feel like you have been forgotten. That's a pain.
Oh, you didn't go through anything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a pain that people, oh, they forgot about me. I don't count. I don't matter to them. And that, I venture to say, when you look at our suicide rates, find out what was going on with them, and were they in that position where, right, people dismissed them and they didn't get the help that they needed.
Right.
That's part of what I'm trying to push. That's why I'm so involved in the PTSD movement, the visible wounds, invisible wounds portion of it.
Right.
It's falling by the wayside, and did I freeze?
Yes. So just start with it's falling by the wayside.
It's falling by the wayside, and that's what's affecting people. And I think that's why our suicide rates are going up so high, whether it be active duty or retired people. It's a human factor.
Yes. Just civilians.
It's a human factor, period. Don't dismiss the people who are hurting. Don't dismiss the people who are mentally hurting just because they don't have a physical wound. I can't even say it's a military issue. It's a human issue. Yeah, because I going through that, having that abusive childhood, I kept those scars buried, and I looked just fine to everybody on the outside until I couldn't keep it under anymore. Right. And it began to surface, and it began to surface as anger. And it didn't occur to me how bad it was until one day my husband came home for lunch, and my daughter's being homeschooling, and I had been on a tear all morning, just on a rant. And my daughters grabbed him around the waist when he went to go back and said, "Dad, can we go back to work with you? Don't leave us here with her." Oh, and it was, knife to my heart. And I was like, this has to change. Yes. That was my wake up call. And I was like, this has to change. Right. I'm not doing this. I'm not going there. And so I went the next day to my doctor. It will expose itself in two ways. It's going to come out as anger, or it's going to come out in loneliness.
Yes.
And so when it comes out in loneliness, your suicide risks go up.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes out as anger, your homicide risks go up.
Right.
So those people who are out and shooting up, where stores and malls and wherever, anger has built up, and they didn't have that outlet because nobody was listening.
Right.
Those people who decide they're going to take themselves out because that loneliness has built up, and they don't feel like they have an outlet because they've been saying, I've been reaching out and nobody's been listening. Nobody cares.
Right. Because look at these instances we just had. These guys were telling people, this is what I'm thinking about. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm showing people videos, and nobody is listening.
No one's. The same goes with our podcast. With the podcast that I did, we had signs.
Right.
We saw things. We joked about it. You don't really take these things seriously, even though your gut is saying, hey, there's something really off about this person. But you said, nah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
Mm-hmm.
we all get those signs. We all get those telltale things that say, hey, pay attention.
Yeah.
The radar needs to go up, pay attention. And we choose not to.
Like you said, your gut. I tell my kids all the time, trust your gut. If your gut tells you something is not right, it's not right.
And
trust your gut. Yes.
You can trust your gut, but you really need to listen to it because it's there for a reason.
Exactly. That is exactly. It is telling you for a reason. Well, I have enjoyed this so much today, and I know we didn't get to near what you sent me to share, but I think what we shared is probably what needed to be heard. What we talked about was what needed to be out there, and I cannot wait for us to get started on the panels and reach out, because we're focusing on supporters, but I'm sure we're going to have military members. I know I have non-military people that are very curious about the military, and you just don't know who's out there who needs to hear what it is that we have to share. And so I'm really excited about it, and I'm so glad that you came on and that you decided to be a part of our panel. And
I'm really excited that you accepted me. This is an amazing opportunity that I love to speak. I love to talk. So this is like, my husband was like, this is right up your alley. But it's time, so I got it.
I know, me too. I know. Everybody's like, you like to talk too much. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I have to really be careful. I have to watch, especially when I'm speaking, I have to watch that person in the back of the room with the number signs, 5 minutes. Okay. Exactly. I know. I need to shut up.
This is gonna be amazing. And I'm so excited to be a part of the podcast. I'm excited to be part of the panel. Can't wait until we get started. I'm super excited.
Me too. Well, we should be getting started in a couple of more weeks once I get all these conversations. I'm getting these all done. I've got a couple more to do, and then we're going to be off and running. So everybody be sure and tune in. Check underneath the show in the show notes and on our Facebook page, and I'll have all of Gigi's information there for you. So be sure and check that out, and it'll tell you how you can get in touch with her, how you can find her if you need to talk to her or you need to reach out. You can find out more about the military sororities and everything. So until we start the panels, I will see you later.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was such a great time talking to you. We get lost.
No, we can just talk forever.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and we will see you soon.
Okay.
Okay,
Have
bye-bye.
a great one.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, you too. Bye-bye.